Sharpen pencils, clear your desk. It's time to increase your nerdiness with Derek.
Hello, once again, I'm Derek W. Truesdale. It's time to increase your nerdiness. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I get asked about from time to time, and that's what video editor should I choose? Because many of you, if you bought a camera, you might have looked in the manual and you're like, geez, how do I import this footage? And it says, use the video editor of your choice. And you're like, I don't have a video editor. And then you look it up, you're like, how come this stuff costs so much money? Well, I'm going to help you navigate through some of the mud of which editor you're going to be choosing. Now, we're actually doing a re-record because from time to time, maybe I've been known to ramble on or it just gets a little weird sometimes, and we deal with complicated things here on the podcast. However, I like to kind of keep it as simple as I can and just walk through with some key points. So we're going to try to clean this up and not have me waste too much of your time today. Wasting time is what I do the rest of the week. Anyhow, all right, so the first thing we're going to talk about here is personal preference. It's very hard for me to answer what editor should I use because, well, it depends on you and how complicated you want to get. For example, I've seen reviews of editors that are very powerful and can do a lot, and yet some of the people are like, what the heck? I don't know how to use this. It's too complicated. If it's supposed to be for editing video, how come it has to be so complicated? Well, part of it is if you want the advanced features, it sort of has to be, but you might prefer something lighter. Okay, let's talk about the overall scope of things. In the entry level, you have free editors like Windows Movie Maker, which comes with a Windows machine, and iMovie on the Mac. And, the other thing about personal preference is the best thing, the thing that will affect your videos the most is you. There are people who have done, they haven't done impressive technical work, and yet there are fascinating videos out there to watch. It's all about you and the content you're providing, and also the talent and how well you put together your videos. That's the number one factor, because you could actually make darn good films on even Windows Movie Maker if you want to. Will you get all the features? No, but it certainly is possible. So we have the entry-level ones, and then we have sort of the consumer light versions of our editors, which would run at about the maybe $100 range, possibly less, possibly more, and then the pro editors. Now, the thing is, once you start going to the pay level, a lot of these programs, and I'm going to be addressing the big three, which is Final Cut and Premiere, and also Sony Vegas, which I happen to use. And a lot of these ones have the light version is sort of a stripped-down version of the full-featured one. Now, it's my opinion that once you go to the pro level, you can pretty much do anything you want. You don't have to worry so much because the pro ones pretty much include anything you would need to do, and at that point it comes down to preference. But these consumer ones that are kind of in the middle are limited in different ways. And depending on you and what you want to accomplish, you might prefer one or the other. Now, one element to consider is if you know you're going to be working on a system. For example, a lot of the industry will use Final Cut. So, hey, it's good to know how to use Final Cut. So, if you're on the Mac platform, you might want to go and get Final Cut Express, which, what is it now, like $300, something like that, and sort of get your feet wet, figure out the features. And then if you ever want to go pro, you can do that at some point. If you're on Windows, hey, you might want to try Premiere, because the other thing about the pro versions is they'll also come packaged with other tools. Adobe, in my opinion, has the best overall package because you'd get, it's called the Creative Studio Suite or something like that. Production Premium, I forget what it's called. But there's Photoshop, which is great. After Effects, which is great for color correction and special effects work. and then you get Dreamweaver and whatever their DVD authoring thing is. It's a really great package, and that's actually very common in the industry. I know that Family Guy has been edited at some point. I'm not sure what they use now, but they have used Adobe Premiere. Now, Premiere comes in two flavors. Let's deal with that one first. We have Premiere Elements and Premiere Pro. Elements, the cool thing about the consumer version, and you can try all of these out. That's the cool thing about it. I don't know if Final Cut has a trial. Go look into that on your own time. But it gives you an unlimited amount of video tracks with the consumer standard Elements version, which is pretty cool. I mean, sometimes you want to have multiple effects and stuff. So if you're looking for that kind of thing, you might want to do that. The other cool thing about Elements is that you can make it more of a professional timeline view, or you can click over and have it be more of a Windows Media Maker sort of timeline that maybe you're more used to. And so it could be a great entry-level thing to sort of figure out, you know, do I like it this way? Do I like it this way? And just try it on timeline view, and that'll be great practice for as you move on to more editors in the future. It comes with a lot of great presets. It's also very well supported. If you go to the Adobe forums, there are plenty of people who are more than willing to help you. The thing with that, though, is they tend to recommend Adobe products, not surprisingly, for the whole workflow. For example, they're like, well, if you're capturing, you gotta capture to Premiere, you know. And everything you ask, they'll be recommending an Adobe tool. And personally, I like to use the third-party tools, so I kind of go my own way on that. So, yeah, that's sort of my overall impression of Premiere Elements. Try it out. You get a 30-day trial if you want to do that. Okay, also we have Sony Vegas, which I happen to be using. It's pretty cool because it gives you a lot of advanced control, even at the consumer level, you know, the $100 range or so. However, they limit you to 4 video tracks, which can be a bit of a pain. I mean, there are times where if I could just have one more track, it's like, please. So I end up either rendering it out or frame serving it and then adding more layers on top of it, which obviously is much more of a pain. Also, with the consumer version of this, it's there might be a way to do this with Premiere Elements, but it'd be pretty darn tricky. You can actually edit in 24p, which might be useful if you have a camera that does that and you're into that kind of thing. Maybe you're making a feature film or something of that sort. But and by the way, don't feel like you have to do 24p. I mean, 30p is just fine for many applications also. But to me, Vegas overall impression is sort of a lightweight editor, meaning it won't bog your system down as much. And that's and again, this is personal opinion and stuff. My impression of Premiere is that it can weigh down a system if you don't have a really fast machine. However, if you do have a fast machine, it plays well and it works good with that. So there's that. And then, of course, on the Mac side is Final Cut, which gives you great industry practice. Now, if you're a good editor, you'll be able to learn this stuff anyway. You are the biggest, most important thing to this. So there you go. Oh, also let's talk about Final Cut for a little bit because I've used that. If you have a Mac, that's the only place to get it. So you might want to do that because a lot of people are using Final Cut. There's plenty of help out there on how to use it. So there you go. That's sort of my middle way. And then again, once you go pro, I think the biggest determining factor of what you choose is kind of the whole package. Now, I mentioned Adobe Production Premium, which is a great suite. It gives you all those, the Photoshop and a whole bunch of extra goodies. Lots of programs I didn't even mention. It's a pretty full-featured package. Also, there's Final Cut Studio, which is a really good package too. And with Vegas, if you got the Pro one, you'd probably still have to get an After Effects style program to do that. So It's sort of like, do you want to double dip and get Final Cut Pro and then After Effects on top of that, which is going to put your budget in the, pretty close to $2,000? Or do you want to get the whole package of Adobe's suite? And that the more you bundle stuff together, the more you, quote, save, although you'll be spending a considerable amount of money on that. And then the other thing is, going back to you and what you want, you might have a certain price point now, but you're looking off to the future. So you're like, hey, someday I'd love to have Final Cut Studio, so I'm going to get my Mac and start out on Express, play with that, and then if it gets too cumbersome or I'm missing the features I want, I'll upgrade later. So kind of look ahead to the future. What do I want to have and edit at some point? And that'll kind of determine where you want to be. And I will mention this. In my mind, PC is a better value. If, you take a similar PC machine and a Mac machine, and you tend to pay a lot more for the Mac. So if you're a low-budget filmmaker, as I am, I think PC is a very powerful tool. You can do a lot with it, but it might be more for advanced users. So there you go. Get the whole package if you want the Adobe workflow or the Final Cut workflow, and you want everything to play nice and import into your other programs like Compressor on the Mac. Comes with the whole Final Cut Studio thing, and that's sort of what you want to be looking for in an editor. And hey, try them out. If you got a friend who has a Mac, see if you can try out Final Cut and figure out what you like, because that's really the most important thing. I mean, for example, in Vegas, you can, to make a simple dissolve, you could just take two clips and you kind of shove them into each other, and it automatically makes a transition there. In other editors, you have to butt them up together, click on the center point, add a transition, and an audio transition if necessary. And it's a whole bunch of extra steps. I've really come to like Vegas for that reason, that it really makes fast cuts and simple editing. It really makes it a breeze. I like that, but that's just my preference. So try them out. And also let me know what you think. Be sure to leave a comment. All right, well, this week I didn't have quite as much time, but so I just wanted to kind of follow up on some questions I had. Next week, we should be getting more into some actual heavyweight content as we continue our journey in video recompression and the whole workflow of very fun video processing. So I'll see you next time, Derek W. Truesdale, and we'll be back on Increase Your Nerdiness. And also make sure you check out DerekForPresident.com, where you can get the whole full-blown list of the podcast in order, so you don't have to get mixed up. YouTube can be kind of funny with that, where if you have part 1, part 2, you're like, what the heck? And then they only show part of the title, and you're like, wait, which one's part 2? I can't see how, because you don't have the full title typed out. It gets kind of annoying, but without further ado, we'll see you next week.
Sharpen pencils, clear your desk. It's time to increase your nerdiness with Derek.